Good afternoon and welcome to Zagreb School of Economics and Management, MBA Open Days. My name is Zdravka Biocina, as I already said, and today I'm going to be your moderator. Apart from that, I'm also a lecturer at Zagreb School of Economics and Management. Some of you I know, I've seen the list of participants. Since there is a large number of us, this event is organized through Zoom in form of webinar, but that doesn't mean that you cannot be active. So we encourage you to pose questions through Q&A, chat, or by raising your hand. So please do that and feel free to ask questions in any time of this webinar. Today with us, we have our Associate Dean for Graduate MBA Program, Professor Doctor of Science Maja Martinovic. She will tell us something more about the MBA program at the SHAM with all the possibilities it offers. Our second, actually first one in the timeline will be Zvonimir Stopic, who will give us a lecture about doing business in China, so some tips to keep in mind. So I will now like to give this virtual stage to Mr. Zvonimir Stopic, who is also my colleague and lecturer and very active in Croatia Institute, to talk about this very, very interesting topic. And as I already mentioned, you can post questions through whole this webinar. So please, Zvonimir, could you share your presentation with us?
Thank you, Zdravka. Yes, my name is Zvonimir Stopic, and today I'm going to give you a little bit of intro into China circumstances and China business. Why China? Because we believe here in Zagreb School of Economics and Management that China is kind of today being a first step toward understanding the whole Asia. China's geopolitical and geoeconomic circumstances, there its position is central in Asia today. And it's still, although there are rivalries with, for example, India or growing Indonesia and so on, China still is in the center because of its growing strength, economic strength, political strength, their internal structure and growing military presence, which will for sure make China important country in future to come. I'm sure you all more or less know this. So as an introduction to business to Asia, we are starting with introduction to business to China, as I said, the first step toward something bigger. So let's start. Hope you can all see this.
We can see it.
Excellent. So as a first step, introducing you to China, I'm going to introduce myself. So who am I and what am I actually doing? I'm a professor here at the Zagreb School of Economics and Management and also in Beijing at Capital Normal University. My CV, basically, the official version is relatively boring. It's a typical academic, let's say, CV, which I usually present in some official on some official occasions. So it's nothing spectacular. I graduated in Zagreb, history and philosophy, later studied a little bit sinology, went to China, got some scholarship for language, applied for a PhD there, and then eventually finished a PhD in Beijing in history of international relations. Later, I worked in several institutes in China and later in Croatia, also in Budapest, mostly that deal with international relations, history, political analysis, and so on. I will not go into this detail because it's, as I said, it's not very interesting. It's relatively boring. However, there's the other side of this this CV, which I often like to present in classes such as this, because it's very good introduction to what the other picture of China actually is. Well, I mentioned that I studied sinology, but I never finished. I got a scholarship by language scholarship 6 months, which was relatively unexpected, through organization, let's say, which is called Hanyu Jiao. It's a Chinese bridge that it is a, you know the shows, the superstar shows, the shows about singing, shows about acting. You have it in Croatian TV, you have it in UK, in US, and so on. There is a show in China. It used to be very, very popular, where Chinese would bring foreigners actually basically to act, sing, or I don't know, do all kinds of stuff in Chinese. And it's not a small thing. There's 250 million people watches these shows, and I was a part of that. Why? I don't know. It's not my. I still cannot explain myself why I actually did that, because it's something that I really don't like. I'm not, my character doesn't fit into this. But still, there was an opportunity to win a scholarship, so I went through that. I was there on TV, and I don't know, it was a very confusing actually experience, very weird, but still it was my first step, real step in China. Later, I got a job there. I stayed on the scholarship. I finished that semester, found a very good job. I worked for Microsoft for a while, and then while working there, I applied for a PhD scholarship, which I eventually got, and started doing PhD things. However, in between and in everything else, just a second, I was working all kinds of odd jobs there, from this technology sphere to acting, to all kinds of other things. And this is where I kind of got very immersed in what China is, how Chinese markets functions, what job offers there are, and so on. So official part, this is me with shaking hands with the then former China's vice president. This is me on an official university website. I was I think one of the 3 foreigners within several thousands of Chinese that graduated at my university that year. So of course they put my picture on the wall of the university. And this is the other side. Yes, I'm not Scottish, of course, but I acted as a Scottish for a while. It simply was a good job opportunity for that moment. These other 2 pictures are from that show. As you can see, they are choreographed. They look very much like shows you can see on television. And this is the other part, of China. And when you go to China, you basically can experience so many different things depending on how you are going to expose yourself. China. Okay, so the question, the thing that I often, when I give these lectures, I always like to ask this one very good question: what is China? Because today we are mostly we got used to understanding China as a country, just a country, like Croatia is, like United States is, like Germany is, like France is, or whatever, just a country. However, that country is just probably one thing, only one part of the definition of what China is. Its history, its cultural presence globally and regionally, the inner working, social inner workings of China make China something very very unique. It's comparable to some places in the world, but not to all, especially not to Western type, let's say, national state countries. It developed a little bit differently, and now exists simply in a different form. When we talk about China, especially if we look at it from the wider perspective, we will see the continuity of that society. We will see the breakdowns, but then again, reunifications which occur after centuries after centuries. And now we are actually, when we look at it from that perspective, we are actually just witnessing the last, the start of a new unification period of China, which was which started basically at the end of the 20th century. China works in many ways quite differently than any other country I've traveled to, and it is something that we have to keep in mind, especially when we look at media and when we listen news, especially now between United States, rivalry between United States and China and so on. China is not something that is going to disappear. It is not something that you can basically, you can minimize its presence. These are things that are very, very hard to do because it is real, it is here, and it will continue to be here. And actually, it is our it is a huge task of this present time of everybody to understand how we are going to communicate with that country in the future to create a world which is not going to be, under shadow of, for example, nuclear warfare or so on. So when people ask me what I think about China, it's actually very difficult for me to explain simply because I know China's side that most of the people see through media. The Chinese Communist Party, the rigidness, the virtual internet Great Wall of China, the censorship, all of these things, they're real, they exist, of course. However, there's a completely other side, which I was immersed in for more than a decade there, which is something that contradicts and even functions together very well with this rigid part. I went to China first time in around 2010, and by 2012 I was already settled there pretty well, with a job, with an apartment, with everything. And why am I mentioning 2012? Because this is a time before Xi Jinping came to power. When I went to China, this is also a time when this great rise of China, which we often listen in many different ways, that was very visible through the 19th and early 2000s, was kind of reaching its peak. And I'm very happy that I saw how China looked at that time, because it is something that China is not today anymore. A lot of things changed in the past 10 years. For example, then I'm listed here some of the examples. Foreigners, for example, were I would say a little bit more accepted than they are today. It was easier to get there, easier to obtain visa. It was easier to get a job. I'm not saying that foreigners are not welcome now. That's not true. Simply that this let's say bureaucratic requests are now more strict than it were before. The Chinese Communist Party, it was basically invisible. You could not see it anywhere. Chinese bureaucracy was, let's say, loosened. You could wiggle around, basically around any problems, really easy. WeChat, the mega app, if you want to do business in China, the WeChat is the first thing you have to have. It is impossible to do anything, to establish any kind of communication with China unless you have that. So today WeChat is you can do everything through it. It works as a Facebook and Twitter and email and YouTube and whatever you want. all in together. Of course, it's also a paying app. It is also an app through which you can buy things online, plane tickets, whatever. Everything you pay utilities, everything is in that app. It almost functions as an ID of your virtual ID in China. So that's WeChat now. But then when I came, it was just this just began, and it was a copy of WhatsApp, but that basic WhatsApp, which only had, you can only send messages through it, and that's basically it. Huawei was a growing company, but a very small one. Xiaomi, nobody knew about that. Nobody even knew what it was. When we saw Xiaomi, we saw that it's like crappy phones, they're worthless and something. Google left China, but just a little bit before that. Pollution in Beijing, I lived in Beijing for a while, was on an incredible level. That's something that it's very difficult even to describe. I can have a lecture only on that, on how it looked like and what it was. The major, probably the largest, the most important thing about that time is that the West, the political West, let's say, had very good relations with China, and that during that time there was a lot of talk. I mean, all of us who were in China, we knew this is just I don't know, wishful thinking, it's not real, it cannot happen. But still, a lot of organizations and governments in the West hope that China is at the brink of making a bolder step toward, Western type democracy. This, of course, did not happen. And happened something the opposite, which was actually, if you look at how China functions from the inside, was completely to be expected. And if I was at that time, someone asked me on which I would bet on Xi Jinping. I would not bet on China going to a democracy. And for me and many others, I'm not the only one, let's say, people who saw these things from the inside, it was even remarkable how some governments, how high expectations were of China, because I don't know why this how exactly did they come to that conclusion? I mean, of course, if you look at China only from the outside, perhaps yes, but if you look at the whole picture, it's much more clear. So today, in 2019, and that's pre-COVID China. It's actually the last time I was in China, because I didn't go there for the last 3 years because of COVID. Everything became, until that time, everything became much tougher to get visa, tougher to get jobs. There were inspections much harder. Censorship was reintroduced on a little bit stricter level. It's not that everything is being censored. It doesn't work like that. Mostly it's auto-censorship, and the only thing that party is concerned about is about what you say about the party. The rest of it doesn't matter that much. There was oh, I'm sorry, I see that I was yeah, okay, doesn't matter. The apps, it's a wrong slide, but it doesn't matter. Just listen to what I'm saying. The level, it was at that time, Huawei was a huge company. Xiaomi was already a respectable company. China was becoming already very famous for its infrastructure projects that it was doing all around the world. It started reaching out to Europe through that One Belt, One Road initiative that it started, and something that West perceived quite a lot is that during that time we had China started to growing their let's say control and military presence around itself, which means in the Himalayan part, which of course started to create issues with India, and in the South China Sea, which created a lot of frictions toward its southeastern neighbors such as Japan or Vietnam, Philippines, or or even Indonesia. And by 2019, there was already a big shift internationally. I'm sure you are aware, at least on some level, Donald Trump started a trade war with China, and that started to affect a lot of things that happen not only on an economical level but on a political level. What I would like to say, that fear started growing on both sides, with Chinese Communist Party becoming even more careful, which then again, of course, made others, especially in the United States, also more, let's say, careful. And the story goes as it is. So what happened in the last 4 years? All of this preparation, it came to something. It came to something very a new high level. I think if you look at the last 40 years, like 2019 and 40 years before, you will probably notice that China wasn't mentioned all that much. You know, all you could basically, what journalists and politicians, when they talked about China, they usually talked about this Chinese great rise, you know, the rise of China, the unprecedented rise, about economy potentials, about what is going to happen in the future, you know, when China grows, and this all theoretical stuff. Here and there you would find a book that would talk about that, and this is also very funny. During my 10 or 12 years in China, almost every year there was a book that this year is the last year of China's rise, and that China's market is going to flop. It didn't happen for 12 consecutive books or years until today, and that's about it. And the last 4 years, China has been one of the most discussed topics, whether it's economy, whether it's technology, whether it's international relations, and there isn't basically a day doesn't pass by where you don't have in foreign media someone talking something about China. Of course, the approach is still very, I would say, superficial at most, in most places. We still see here in the West China as a sort of enigma, which of course creates a lot of space for misunderstanding and prevents us, you know, to utilize some pretty well opportunities. And the worst thing of it all, it creates, it makes us fear, you know, each other more and more, which then, of course, prevents us to cooperate and actually work together and so on. So we are now at not a very good point when it comes to China. I'm sure recently there was a lot of laughs being shared all around the internet that some kind of a balloon can make such a tremendous threat to United States of America. But there was a lot of other things. Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, I'm sure everybody noticed that, and how quickly the Chinese were, let's say, irritated, but by that move, and how quickly something like that could create a tremendous amount of problems in that region, and even you know, globally, because of which other people started really questioning and re-questioning what the hell Taiwan is exactly, and why is this such a big problem for China. Jack Ma, I am sure that some people already now don't even remember him because he disappeared a few years ago completely from the media, and before he was a pretty big and influential guy in China, one of the symbols of China's rise in internet. This is something also that happened, which is very, very interesting story. There was also a problem with Huawei. Huawei stepped back from a lot of markets because of the issues regarding basic security issues and a pressure which mostly United States and then through Canada placed on Huawei, mostly because of its pretty fast rising global presence. And then there was probably the worst thing that happened in the circumstances which were already tense, and that's COVID-19, which came from China, which had first of really bad effect on the world in ways I don't have to explain much, but it had also a pretty bad effect because China went into a 3-year long lockdown, which made this country even further from the West than it was, before. So now, right now, and I'm literally talking now, this February and January, China is in the stage of reopening up. Basically, it's trying to now attract more foreigners. It's trying to attract more foreign investors. It's trying to reconnect with its is trying to re-establish the connections it had before and establish new ones, because the last 3 years didn't pass very well with China. The lockdown had a very, I would say, very serious effects on connections China had with the world. They lost a lot of contacts, which is visible from the image we have now about China in the West. And China is in a stage of in a delicate stage, I would say, of in which it is trying to reconnect and trying to get back to the circumstances that were pre 2019. So what I can also in this short lecture share with you is what I saw about and how I understand Chinese market, for example, when I was there, which we should have in mind when we go there and when we want to establish whatever it is, with whatever relation we want with China. First of all, I never saw competitiveness on such high level, whether it is technology, whether it is commodities, whether the competition within the scientific institutions, schools, competition between students in some level, competition for jobs. It is simply incredible. This is I sort of understood that in many ways China, especially the big cities, which are nexuses of this of Chinese economy, they work in a system work or die. Simply, there's no time to be wasted, and they continuously produce and push things forward. To explain, I mean, Croatian mentality, for example, in comparison to Chinese, Croatians are snails, if we could compare it with I don't know, economy of how fast everything moves in for example Beijing. United States, when I was there, I saw of course competitiveness on a much higher level, and some places in Europe also too. But still, I would say that what it is that China still has something that these countries or these places in the world don't have. The second thing is, and this is somewhere where foreign experts always kind of flop, it's adaptiveness. China is an incredibly adaptive country from inside and from outside. And I would say it's not the country that is adaptive, the Communist Party, which can move some decisions quicker or utilize them quicker than some Western governments can. It is actually the Chinese society which is adaptive, and the government, communist government, is just as an extension of that same trait. it is it works the same thing works in China's economy. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. They will find either way that it works. If don't, they will close it, open something new. And this happens on a daily basis. I'll give you one example. In one apartment where in a building where I lived in, there was a business, there was a place where people wanted to open some business, and that place within 1 year it was the same owner. He changed 4 times the nature of the business. He closed, redecorated, opened something new. Then again 3 months, it didn't work, something blah blah, found something else, closed, redecorated, opened something new. And the things, one was a tourist office, one was something for commodities in internet sale, one was I can't remember, one was I don't remember, but anyway, it was very different, and it simply they would adapt and change and move forward, and this is how things work. There's no backing out, and when you start, you just simply move forward. The barriers, when we look at from our side, definitely the Chinese language. We need to understand something, at least. You don't have to have a super high level of Chinese to be successful in China. I know a lot of people that made a lot of success without perfect knowledge of Chinese, but the language, at least some basic stuff, will help you get around China a little bit easier, and to understand some of how some things function a little bit quicker. Chinese market also is because it's very big, and whatever idea you have, you can for sure even you can count that thousands of people have the same idea as you, which means that you are, whenever you want to do something or whatever, you will face incredible competition, as I mentioned before. And marketing is something that is has a tremendous impact and is tremendously important in China on many different levels. During 2016-17, I remember in China there was a lot of startup companies. It was very popular at the time, about everything, whatever you can imagine. And one of my friends worked in one of those startup companies, something about, I don't know, software or whatever, it doesn't matter. And they said that they used 95% of their budget to marketing, only 5% for development. So you can imagine how incredible competitiveness exists there, and this competitiveness creates a lot of opportunities. There's that means also that state and regulation do not follow market very well, because they can't. It moves so fast. So there's a lot of free, always open space, for doing something very new and making money, in a way in a way you wouldn't be able to do it in the West. However, keep in mind, China is usually does not function as a quick buck country. It still takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to get use of it. However, it is once things click, everything is very beneficial. Okay, so also I wanted to say that, for example, give you some examples on how China functioned before. When I was there, they also copied a lot of products from the outside, like search engine Baidu is kind of a copy of Google. They have Baidu Baike, it's a copy of Wikipedia. Taobao, they actually that's Jack Ma and others, they saw how these things work in the West, and Amazon and other things, and then they copied it in China. Jack Ma, I don't know if you knew, he's one of the first guys in China who connected, who established an internet connection, so he was simply very, very much ahead of everybody, so he just used a lot of copied a lot of things that he saw in the West and imported it in China. However, now China's not that anymore. For a while it hasn't been. When it comes to copying, there's a lot of products which are now being copied back to us. I was just walking the street the other day, and I saw how many, Bolt and Volt and I don't know how many these delivery companies they are. The system they use is actually a Chinese system that existed 10 years ago there in Beijing. So this is just one of the example. When it comes to technology, there are many more. So China functions in a very different way now, which is of course, good for opportunities. Here a picture. It's in my old neighborhood in Beijing. This is, I think, taken in 2017 or 16. I'm not really sure. At one point, someone remembered example of how things work in China, from the inside. Someone remember Chinese like bikes, and these are overcrowded cities, and bikes can be very useful. And not only that the cities are overcrowded, but they're very huge. And if you want to walk, I remember I used to lose like an hour at least, only to go outside and buy some groceries and come back to building. So everything is simply far away. So bicycles are a very good idea, and someone remembered, because technology allowed it, let's make this, city bikes, which you can scan, then use, leave somewhere, and then walk, use again, and so on. And there was one of the companies who came up with the idea first, produced a lot of these bikes, put it on the streets of Beijing. I think within 2 months, there were like 10 other companies that did the same thing, and they simply overcrowded the streets of Beijing with bikes. And there were so many of these bikes that you couldn't walk anywhere, and there were, of course, this overproduction, it's something that I don't know, many of these companies later didn't have any profit, and I think some eventually went bankrupt. But still, when someone had the idea, there were so many copies of the same idea, and they made such a mess that it was that it was incredible. And still, in the process, a lot of people made money. This is how China actually, works from the inside. And order, you could not restore order. So you can see in the picture on the left, on the right, how the bunch of these bikes were usually, sometimes cramped together and simply, taken to the somewhere, to be destroyed or whatever. I don't know. So it's a very funny thing, but this works in many different ways. So what to expect of China, and this is something which I'm going to finish. In the future, what does this rise of China means for us? What does it mean for the West? What does it mean for China itself, for the region? This is a huge question, which we here in Zagreb School of Economics and Management think about in different ways on a daily basis. What is in order to do, understand this, we have to know how China sees the world, and this is of course then again a few experts that Zagreb School of Economics and Management can give an answer to this, because we follow what happens in China on a daily basis. But from within China, as I mentioned, I work in China, and one of my colleagues also from the school too. So we kind of have a perspective that many institutions simply do not have. What will China going to be a threat? Is China going to be a country which is going to help recreate new world order? Is Taiwan going to be a problem? Is North Korea going to be a problem? Is there going to be a problem in the Himalayas? the supply chains, the technology, the space exploration. This is everything has to do in China in many different ways, and these are all the things that we basically talk about and discuss on a daily basis. Also, the Communist Party of China is something, one of the topics we have to understand, not from the perspective of the West, but from their own understanding of it, in order to make connections and in order to make a system in which a fruitful and useful dialogue with this country can be made. So here in Zagreb School of Economics and Management, as it was mentioned before, we have an institute called Croatia Institute. You can expect that China is a very large part of it. Dean of the school, myself, and a few other colleagues work diligently, I would say, in making this institute present and alive on a daily basis. We are very present in media. We produced several books. Some are on the way. We give provide different kind of lectures on not only on China but Asia, but also on other Asian countries. And we have managed to establish a very good network of let's say experts which cooperates with us, who are from various ambassadors or diplomats, business experts, and so on. The same not only with China, we have a very good connection with, for example, Singapore and Indonesia, Japan, India, and guests from those countries come to our as guest lectures often, and students have an opportunity to meet all of them. And as a special, I can say this as my last thought, as a special guest lecturer who you can meet during our courses is the lady over here who is standing next to Chinese President Xi Jinping. It's a Croatian former President Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović, who is actually very present in all the lectures that we do on any international topic. Okay, this is my 45 minutes. So I will conclude my lecture now. I didn't see the questions. I don't know if there are any. So you are free to ask whatever you want.
Of course, you can ask question now or write them
or later, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zvonimir, for this very, very interesting lecture. I hope.
I apologize for that screen. The one slide was really off. I actually copied from before. I didn't change it, so I apologize for that. But yeah, okay.
I know that this was very interesting to our maybe future students. If there are any questions, feel free to ask now. If not, Zvonimir will be here with us the whole webinar. So if some questions come up later on, feel free to ask them.
Absolutely.
Okay. If there is no questions for now, then we can start with our second speaker today, and that is our Associate Professor, Doctor of Science, Maja Martinović, she is also an Associate Dean for the Graduate MBA program and Chair of the Marketing and Tourism Department. I see there are some of our alumni here, so you probably know our professor, and she will tell us something more today about our Graduate MBA program at Zagreb School of Economics and Management. Professor Martinović.
Thank you, Zdravka, for your introduction, and thank you, Zvonimir, for this interesting lecture, which was actually the presentation how we do that here at ZSEM. Okay, so now I will have a short presentation about ZSEM in general, and I hope that you can see my screen. Okay. First of all, I would like to share with you some pictures of our campus. That is a new modern campus after the earthquake, okay? And here you can see the ZSEM mission statement, which is very important to us because the whole system is a mission-driven system. In ZSEM, everything starts from here, and actually all our activities or our syllabi, all intellectual contributions of our professors are coming from the mission statement, because we know that we are transferring knowledge from the field of business administration and some specializations in that business administration, and also values related to ethical, so corporate social responsibility values and sustainability also. And skills such as, for example, teamwork, and then writing skills, presentation skills, critical analytical thinking, and other skills very important to our students. And everything is in international, globalized context. And that is something which is also important to achieve all our accreditations, because our mission-driven system is perceived as a very successful, and it's recognized from the beginning by the Agency for Science and Higher Education. And also since 2013, we have ACSB accreditation achieved from the ACSB International Organization, which actually accredited like the most successful business schools all around the world. Also, we are ranked by QS and Ed Universal. So accreditations are very important for us in the context of differentiation of ZSEM. Few years ago, we also had an audit. That is why one visit from the Agency for Science and Higher Education here in Croatia. And at that time, we achieved their certificate for the quality, and ZSEM was recognized as the very successful and in all the standards which are prescribed by Agency for Science and Higher Education and European agency named ENQA, because we are led by the ENQA standards, ESG standards, which are the top standards in higher education in the Europe in general. About the QS ranking, here you can see some numbers about our alumni students and also our faculty members, because at the MBA level, that is a graduate level, we have 41% of international faculty members, and also from all those faculty, 81% hold a PhD also. So in general, at ZSEM, we have several study programs. Some of them are at the undergraduate level. That is a program in economics and management, then business mathematics and economics. And then at the graduate program level, we have this MBA program, which I will describe more today. And that is a one-year program. And with that program, the student can actually earn 60 ECTS points. ECTS points are European Credit Transfer System points, which actually can give you opportunity to go in international exchange with lots of our international partners all around the world. Also, some of our students are attending Doctor of Business Administration program, which is a program from our partner, Sheffield Hallam university, and we have a strong partnership with that institution also. When we talk about ZSEM in some other numbers, you can see here that we have more than like 2,800 alumni students, and they work in more than 36 countries worldwide. So the alumni network and I will say in general, the ZSEM network, it's a very important to all our students and our community in general. In that community, we have also more than 150 partner universities. And when we talk about our faculty, it's also important to say that some of them are very strong in scientific work, that means research and education in general. And some of them are very strong in the business community all around the world, not just in the region and in the country. For example, here you can see our lecturer, Professor Bruno Filippi, who was like for 25 years in president or vice president of Coca-Cola in Asia. And today he works at our MBA program, and also he is involved in research today, but he got very extensive experience from his very rich, I will say, work and CV. So most of our professors are also involved in the business community in a way that they're part of executive boards or supervisory boards of the firms, companies, nationally, regionally, and internationally also. And that is like very important for a business school, I will say, because in that way we are able to transfer our students the knowledge which they really need in business environment today. So key information about the program you can see here. That is a 12-month program, and the structure is the 10 courses plus 2 elective courses. If students want to choose some electives, they can also do that. And usually the whole program is organized in a way that working people can attend the program. That means like every working day after 5 hours, that starts after 5. That means from Monday to Friday. And on Saturday, usually the lectures are whole day in some of specializations, which I will also explain later. So at the end, the students are achieving the title Master in Business Administration, and that is a level 7 in European qualification framework, which is very also important because all our programs are recognized with accreditation agencies. And that means that you can, if you want, you can like go to the doctoral studies later, or you can like use all the advantages of international cooperations. Here you can see our 7 concentrations at an MBA level, and that is a marketing, management, finance and banking, supply chain management, human resource management, accounting, auditing and taxes, and tourism, hospitality and events. So all of them are organized in the same way. And during the program, we have, besides lectures, also some brainstorming. Then we are using case studies in our work. We are using simulations, which are very useful to transfer knowledge into practical work in the classroom. and the simulations that we are using are, for example, capstone, then HR simulation, then marketing strategy simulation, and similar. Student can also go in international exchange programs, and they can gain some additional degree if they want. And of course, part of the program is also internship, and at the end, students have a graduate thesis, which is actually the end of the whole timeline, as you can see here. Now I will tell you more about that executive and global executive MBA program. Those two programs are like organized, I will say, in a specific way, because most of the attendees here, students or participants here, are coming from the region, from different countries. And that's the reason why the lectures are here during the weekend. So usually that is Friday afternoon and the Saturday a whole day. So also the Global Executive MBA program is the program with some study trips. Last year, generation students were in New York and Singapore, and also some lectures were held in Luxembourg and Venice. In this part, we have a strong cooperation with an H-Farm college from the Venice region also. When we talk about our outgoing and incoming students, it's good to know that, for example, from the ZSEM, more than 90 students came like to 41 universities abroad and in more than 17 countries for their, I will say, for one semester, for some lectures, for some courses, and also more than 400 students attend the ZSEM. Those students are from our partner schools and partner institutions from 27 countries and more than 80 universities all around the world. So this whole context of outgoing and incoming students and international exchange, I will say that gives us like a flavor, some like international flavor of the campus and the atmosphere, which you can have. It's like rather interesting because international students from different schools, different cultures, different backgrounds, or when they are like working in a group work, when they study together, that is also additional way how you can learn from different cultures, how you can gain some experience, more experience in that international surroundings. And that is also one advantage of the whole program. So here you can see our partners, and those partners are coming from the North and South America, Europe, and then Asia, Africa, Australia. Most of them are from like, I will say that all of them are very, very high quality institutions, but most of them are also AACSB accredited, and they have also other, besides national, they have also other professional accreditations. And this is opportunity to our students, to all our students in all the programs to go abroad and to gain some knowledge from other institutions also. Usually, it's a very interesting that some students, if they choose that option, they can gain additional degree. So here you can see some programs with an additional degree. That means that actually those institutions here are recognizing our program, and then our students can finish the ZSEM program in Zagreb, and then they can go in some European, for example, schools here in France and Netherlands, and here in some Asian, in China, Taiwan, and Japan, where they can achieve additional degree. Those programs are recently very, very popular, so you can consider that option also. It's very important to say that we have a career center very active in the business community, and I will say the career center it's a link of Zagreb School of Economics and Management, our professors, our students with the business community. So besides that, we do, for example, some business projects in the classrooms. Our students can also, through our career center, be in the contact with the business community in a way, if they are asking, like if they are seeking for some more practical experience, or they would like to change their careers, their jobs, they can be helped by our career center. And we also one day per year we organize the Student Future Day. It's a whole day for that issue, so our students can be in the direct contact then with the firms. Usually that is like around 50 companies coming at ZSEM to be in the contact with our students in a way of some interviews and similar. So at the end, you can see some testimonials from our students, alumni. Vedrana, for example, she is a retail executive in a Croatian bank, and here you can see that she's emphasizing teamwork, interesting lectures and discussions, then socializing and student exchange also, and atmosphere, good atmosphere at the SEM. Most of our students today are from the non-economic background. So Jurica is a business IT consultant, and he's one of the students from the field of the IT, and we have today lots of participant students from various engineers, and then some of them are also medical doctors or lawyers. So usually the people from the business community are they recognize the need for the business education at some point, and that can be a huge motivation to attend our program, because most of the students are executives at some level. When they actually need more business education, more business knowledge from the fields of the management, marketing, finance, accounting, business law, and similar. And okay, now we are at the end of my presentation, but if you have any questions, I will be very glad to answer. You can also reach us to at our social networks, of course. And also here you have our web page address, and there you can find the contacts from our graduate MBA program and other departments. And if you have any specific questions, you can also write us an email. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Martinovic, for this very interesting presentation of our program. We have a few questions, actually. First is, when does the program start?
Okay. I will say that we have two intakes. So one intake is in March and one in September. So you can start program immediately now in March, and that will be then your first semester, and then second semester will start in September. In September, we have second or first, it doesn't matter, intake. So that is also interesting because you can start in one semester with one group of the students, and the group will be different in the other semester because new students will come. We can do that, I will say, for the reason that our courses are organized in a way that it doesn't matter if you will attend one course before other. And that is also a way to spread your network, because you will in this system attend this, like with, you can start with the one group of the students and end your program with the second or other group of the students. So two intakes, one in March and second in September.
Thank you very much, Professor. The second one is, can students who work also go on exchange?
Okay. Of course, if they can actually do that, that is usually very individual. We have a lot of students which are sent by their companies abroad. For example, if you work with international companies in Europe, maybe it will be very useful for development of your career to go somewhere in Germany or France or Netherlands. And I will say that some of the students are also going abroad in Asia, because our companies here would like to develop their businesses there. So sometimes that is the individual decision of the career development of the participant, but sometimes also firms are motivated to send the students abroad. Yes.
So in other words, Zoshem encouraged that no matter if you are employed or not.
Yes, yes, of course. And the most important in that procedure, I will say, it's a recognition of the courses. So if you will go abroad, then we will recognize the courses which you will pass there as our courses, and that is actually in the base of this relationship with all those partner institutions. So you will not spend your time for nothing.
Yeah, they won't have to study longer than due to this.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, we have one question in Q&A. I don't know, can you see it? I can read it. I don't know who wishes to answer it. Both of you can. It is the matter of theory versus practical knowledge in our MBA programs.
Okay, so thank you for that question also. And thank you, Zdravka, also for reading those questions. Yes, now I can see that also. So theory and practical work. As I said, we are using lots of case studies. We are using also simulations. And the reason why we do that is to put that theoretical framework into the practical work. So all specializations and concentrations and all courses are designed in the way that you will gain practical knowledge, of course. Okay, so the task of each professor is actually to give you a framework from the theory, which can cover some practical issues and real business cases. So at the MBA level, you will not have like classical exams. Usually you will have some projects, you will work on some case studies, or you will pass your exam during the lecture. That means during your work in the simulation. And during that, we are trying also to achieve the atmosphere, which is usually very well known in the business environment. That means like the group work, teamwork with the students from the different fields. We are mixing groups of the students from the field of economics, some engineers, some students which are strong, for example, in marketing or finance more, to exchange the ideas, to exchange the skills, which can also help you to build your own.
Thank you very much, Professor. If I may say, I'm an MBA in marketing coordinator, and the same is also on our program. So students are working together in groups, together with international students. They are trying to fix different marketing challenges and problems. And there is, I don't know, is there one exam? So usually it's all, presentations, seminars, problems getting solved that are then being graded, and not theoretical knowledge that is maybe also learned, but through practical assignments. Okay, thank you very much. We have another question in Q&A. Thanks everyone for questions, and feel free to ask even more of them. So the question is, what kind of working experience is needed for global executive MBA program?
Okay. When we talk about the kind of experience, any kind of working experience can be valuable, okay? Because as I said, at that global MBA program, executive MBA, the people are coming here from different towns and also different countries, and their background can be usually it's I will say usually it's in some specialization like engineering, and then they would like to gain more business knowledge, but it can be also anything else. We have professors of languages, we have dentists, I will say that motivation of our students, it's different. Some of them would like to change the career. Some of them would like to build their business knowledge because they are at a management positions, I will say. And some of them would like to start their own companies. And I will say that any case is very specific. And if you would like to know more about your specific background, and maybe if you have any questions in which way is the best to develop your career to achieve some tasks, to achieve some goals, then you can just write me an email. We can discuss that, because we have a lot of cases, and usually at an MBA any kind of experience can be very valuable. Today the business, I will say, it's more multidisciplinary, and everything can add value to the program, and also to your knowledge and your skills. So we have also different background of our professors for the same reason.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your answer. As you can see, because everyone can see from it, we approach every student individually. So it means sometimes it's difficult to give, exact answer, but you can always tell us what is your background, and then we can help you how you can, work with that to get into our general MBA program. Okay, do we have maybe more questions? I think we read all the questions. Or we have comments.
Yes.
So that, and nice ones. I would like to thank Professor Maja Martinovic for concise and true answers. Everything is clear. ZSHM is a really good place to learn.
And I will say thank you also, and that you are a very good candidate for our surroundings, because we are also like, we like a feedback. and we are giving and learning from the feedback also. Yes, thank you very much.
Great. Some more comments or questions maybe? As Professor said, you have our contacts. So this is not the end. It is maybe we are coming near to the end of this webinar, but we are always here. So you can always contact us, and of course meet in person if you want, if you prefer. So feel free in any moment to write to us, or maybe meet with us on our campus.
And maybe just Draka to add that actually that part of our admission policy is also to make an interview with the students, but we can make that interview before that, just to advise you what is maybe the best for you for your career, and in general to discuss your goals, opinions, and to cover some more questions. Yes, thank you.
Right. Yes, because sometimes students come with, they think they want one program, but then when talking with us, they realize that maybe another one would be better suited for them. So don't miss that opportunity to meet us in person and come to our very beautiful new campus where we can discuss more these topics. Okay. If that is all, if there is no more question, I wish to thank very much everyone for coming, our dear guests and our dear lecturers for making this afternoon very interesting for all of us. I hope that everyone got the information they wanted. Once again, if you need some more information, feel free to contact us, and I wish you all a pleasant rest of this day, and thank you for coming. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.